For those of you that had recently been checking out my Wide World of Game Show series, you may know in the previous episode I talked about the game show Gambit. Now let's talk about a game that's considered to be the sister of Gambit, but it aired on NBC and not CBS that aired its counterpart. Prepare yourselves. It features a fellow named Alex Trebek as host long before he hosted Jeopardy. That game is none other than High Rollers. Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews presents Wide World of Game Shows. Greetings, my fellow YouTubers. I'm Dual, the Big D to you, and this is Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. Back again with another episode of Wide World of Game Shows. Today I'm going to be talking about a fun-filled game show that was created by Meryl Heatter, which of course was produced by Heatter-Quigley, the studio that had given everybody Gambit and the original Hollywood Squares, where two contestants compete to answer trivia questions and gain control of an oversized dice. Well, an oversized set of dice, that is. Which they then roll to eliminate the numbers 1 through 9 from a game board in order to win cash and prizes. It's an adaptation of the standard dice game known as Shut the Box. And believe me, this was a pretty fun game since I'd seen a little bit of it. So now, without further ado, I bring to you High Rollers. High Rollers was a fun-filled game show that involved rolling big dice and answering trivia questions, as I just said. The show originally premiered on NBC in July of 1974 and was produced by Heatter-Quigley Productions. Anyway, after its debut a year after that, in September of 75, an accompanying series was launched in syndication and aired once weekly on local stations. But both of those series ended in 76, with the daytime series ending on June 11, 1976. Well, which I am kind of getting ahead of myself, but anyway. The show's host was Alex Trebek. This would be his second game show after he had recently hosted another game show on NBC, which is a very rarely remembered game, and that was The Wizard of Odds, which I have never actually encountered that show, but if I do happen to encounter it and watch it, I will certainly save that for a future episode. He actually did return to do a later version, and then it came back in 87 in syndication, but I'll get to this in a little bit. For now, let's get into the actual gameplay. The basics for this game. Two contestants competed. The object was to remove the digits 1 through 9 from a game board by rolling an oversized pair of dice. To determine who gained control of the dice, Trebek asked a toss-up question. The answers were usually multiple choice, true or false, or yes or no. The first contestant to buzz in received the chance to answer, and answering correctly won control. If that contestant didn't answer correctly, control went to the opponent. Once in control, a contestant could either roll the dice or pass them to the opponent. After rolling, the contestant had to remove one or more digits from the board that added up to the total on the dice. For example, if a 10 were rolled, the contestant could remove any available combination that added up to that number. For example, 1 to 9, 2 to 8, 3 to 7, 4 to 6, 1, 2, and 7, 1, 3, and 6, 1, 4, and 5, 2, 3, and 5, or 1, 2, 3, 4. Easy as that. Provided none of the digits when the combination had already been removed. Contestants bank prizes by removing individual numbers or combinations of them, depending on the rules. A bad roll occurred if the totals showing on the dice did not correspond with any combination of the digits still in play. Contestants making a bad roll immediately lost the game unless they had an insurance marker, which I'll get to in a moment. A contestant clearing the last digit from the board won the game. and the winner of each game received any prizes that were banked, or $100 if no prizes had been banked. The first contestant to win 2 games won the match and advanced to the big numbers bonus round. For the original run from 74 to 76, the original series featured a prize or cash amount hidden under every digit on the game board, revealed and added to a contestant's bank only when that digit was removed. 2 digits each contained one half of a large prize, usually a new car, boat, or luxury vacation. To bank this prize, both cards had to be uncovered by the same contestant. If the contestants each revealed one of the 2 cards, the prize was taken out of play for that game. During the final 7 weeks of the first daytime version, the main game was known as Facelifters. Digits were arranged in a 3x3 grid and concealed a picture of a famous person. A contestant won the game by correctly identifying the person in the picture. A contestant could take a good guess. I guess after making a good roll. But if the contestant made a bad roll, the opponent was allowed 1 guess for each remaining digit in the picture. A successful guess won the game, plus the prizes belonging to the digits still on the board. If neither contestant guessed the identity correctly, Trebek gave clues until one contestant buzzed in with the answer. There was also a co-hostess. Lee did the daytime version, and Elaine Stewart did the nighttime version. They rolled the dice for the contestants, and the contestants sat along the long side of the dice table opposite from Trebek. No insurance markers were given in the main game. A bad roll meant an automatic loss. A syndicated version with almost identical rules ran weekly in the 75 to 76 season. Each episode featured the same 2 contestants competing for the entire show. After the first few episodes, the rules were changed so that rather than requiring contestants to win a 2 out of 3 match, the winner of each game played the big numbers, and the losing contestant returned for another game. The contestants played as many games as possible until time was called. If this happened during a game, the one who had removed more digits won the final game and any prizes accumulated. Under the 2 out of 3 game format used in the first few episodes, the contestant also had another chance at the big numbers. Like other weekly nighttime game shows at the time, this version had no returning champions. On June 11, 1976, the original High Rollers was canceled. However, 2 years later, on April 24, 1978, the show was back again with a different setting and was originally titled The New High Rollers. Excuse me, everyone. The board consisted of 3 columns with 3 randomly assigned digits apiece. Each column contained 1 or more prizes, which were only banked by the contestant who removed the last digit from a column, regardless of who removed the others. The prizes ranged from typical game show gifts like furniture, appliances, trips, etc., to more unusual items such as a collection of musical dolls or a year of Sunday dinners from Kentucky Fried Chicken, as it was known as at the time, even though that's KFC now, common game show prize of the era. Prizes that were banked but not won during a game were returned to their columns. 1 new prize was added per column at the beginning of each game to a maximum of 5. When the prizes in a column were won, a new one was placed in that column for the next game. At least 1 column in each game was designated as a hot column, meaning that all 3 of its digits could be cleared with a single roll of the dice, like 1, 3, 6, which could be cleared with a roll of 10. Now then, insurance markers could be earned by rolling doubles in the main game. If a contestant made a bad roll with at least 1 marker, he or she turned it in and rolled again. A bad roll with no markers lost the game unless it was a double, in which case the contestant received a marker and immediately turned it in for another roll. Markers earned in the main game did not carry over to the big numbers or to the next match. This version had the contestants rolling the dice themselves instead of the hostess as in the first series. So yes. After that, the show did have another 2-year run as it ended on June 20th, 1980. Yes, when it was one of 3 series canceled to make room for the David Letterman show. 7 years later, it came back again, but in syndication and hosted by Wink Martindale. And this followed the rules of the previous version, but with only one prize available in each column. If any prizes were not won during a particular game, they were replaced for the next one. Although on the 1986 pilot episode, which you can find on YouTube exclusively, prizes not won in a game carried over to the next game. Frequently, one column offered a chance to play a special game if the contestant claimed it and won the round. For the special games described, only one die was used. There was Around the World, Cookie Jar, Diamond Mine, Dice Derby, Driver's Test, For Lovers Only, Full House, High Seas, Home Away from Home, Island Hoppers, It Takes Two, Love Letters, Lucky Numbers, Map Game, Millionaire Game, Paris or Bust, Rabbit Test, Screenplay, Shop Till You Drop, Smiling Winks Car Lot, Wild Wheels, and Winks Garage Sale. Yes. Now, I'm not really going to explain all of those because this take a long time to do that. The sound effect from Rolling Doubles was also used on Wheel of Fortune from 92 to 2008 when a cash bonus was offered immediately after solving a puzzle in the main game, usually with categories named clue or fill in the blank for fill in the blank, etc. Now, for the big numbers round, the final round, the champion rolled the dice and attempted to remove the digits 1 through 9 from the board, with a large prize awarded for clearing them all. A larger game board positioned to the contestants' right on the stage was used except on the 1978 to 1980 series, which used the same board as the main game. Insurance markers were awarded for rolling doubles, with each marker giving the contestant another roll of the dice after making a bad roll. These markers did not carry over to the main game. Contestants were awarded $100 for each digit removed from the board. In the earliest episodes of the original run, contestants could stop and take this money after a good roll. A bad roll with no insurance markers or eliminate all digits except for the one ended the game and forfeited the money. The contestant won a car for removing 8 digits and $10,000 for all 9. The rules were soon changed to eliminate the card bonus and allow the contestant to keep any accumulated money even after a bad roll. The second version offered 3 top prizes at different times: a car plus $5,000 in cash, the car alone, and the $5,000 alone. The syndicated version offered a prize of $10,000 and was played using a special pair of gold colored dice. The big numbers bonus round was also used on Las Vegas Gambit, which was the replacement for the series in 1980, and hosted by Wink Martindale as well, which I talked in the previous vid. Anyway, the round used the same dice table as the 78 to 1980 version, complete with sound effects, and had the same rules, but the top award was an accumulating jackpot prizes known as the Gambit Galaxy. Champions stayed on the show until they were defeated or until they won 5 matches, or 7 on the new high rollers. On the syndicated version, winning 5 matches originally won a new car, just like on shows that were done by Barry and Enright, like Joker's Wild, Tic Tac Doe, and Bullseye. But it was later dropped by the time a contestant finally retired undefeated, which led to more cars being awarded in some of the mini games played during the main game. So that's that. Anyway, I've never really seen the show. I have seen full episodes on YouTube, so yes, you can find full episodes of the show on YouTube. It might have been shown on several, maybe on some cable channels later on. Not really sure. But anyway, for Now for other people who worked on the show, the announcer for High Rollers originally was the late great Kenny Williams, who also was the announcer for Gambit. Actually, he was actually a staff announcer, so he was also the announcer for the original Hollywood Squares. Dean Goss was the syndicated announcer. Now, since I've already told you about the prize models for the first High Rollers, on the 78 revival, Becky Price, Linda Hooks, and Lauren Firestone rotate as models during that one, while Martindale was assisted on his version by models Crystal Owens and Casey Winkler. Now, Stan Worth composed the theme for both the NBC runs. In 1985, Score Productions composed a theme titled Bubblegum, originally for a failed Heater pilot called Lucky Numbers, intended as somewhat of a revamp of this show with altered gameplay mechanics, which was reused for the syndicated version. There were also 2 editions of home games released: Big Numbers, the High Rollers game, which was done by E.S. Lowe, while a second edition was done by Milton Bradley. And they both have Alex Trebek on the cover. A board game for the syndicated version was released by Parker Brothers in 1988 and featured Martindale and 2 contestants during the game. There was also a computer game based on the syndicated version released on the Commodore 64, Apple II, and MS-DOS by Box Office. And the cover has Martindale holding a pair of golden dice in his left hand while pointing to them with his right. There was also an Australian version and even a Japanese version. So yeah. But anyway, as I've said, you can find full episodes of High Rollers exclusively on YouTube. So they're very easy to find and what have you. Let me go ahead and give you a look at some the footage I can give you from these versions. Here's what the original version of High Rollers with Alex Trebek looked in its in the original NBC run. Now, here's a look at what the later version looked like. You can see I'm rolling the dice. Someone actually wanted me to clear off the columns. Yes, of course, Alex Trebek returned for this one. Now, of course, you realize this was just when Alex did this 78 version. That was, of course, after his recent attempt Double Dare had ended on CBS the previous year. Now, here's a look at footage from the Wink Martindale version as that aired in syndication. Now, of course, you can see that the settings change a little bit, but you can see how it looks like when you do the main game. So now you know about High Rollers. Would this be a game show I'd recommend you check out? I'd say yeah. If you've watched Gambit, then I think you should. And then I think you might have seen High Rollers. But if you haven't, this is a game I would recommend you check out. It's fun, whatever. You really want to see an earlier, a pre-Jeopardy game with Alex Trebek, may he rest in peace. Then check this out. Check out the Wink Martindale version too. Also, rest in peace. So anyway, that's going to do it for this episode of Wide World Game Shows. There'll be more coming up later on down the road. Details to follow when the next episode will come up. I'm not sure when, but we'll get one soon. Anyway, if you've seen High Rollers, which version did you watch? Did you ever see the Alex Trebek version or the Wink Martindale version? Or have you seen both of them? Now again, as I've said, you can find episodes of all 3 series available on YouTube. Just look it up. Anyway, tell me what you thought about High Rollers in the comments section below. If you like this video, consider clicking the like button, subscribe, and be a part of the Big D Nation. Continue to help support my channel. Make it grow and make the views grow. Tell all your friends about my channel. Give them to know me. May they like to be a part of my Big D Nation and share my vids with your friends if you like as well. Next time, I'll be bringing to you a review of The Return of the Pink Panther. So if you like this, check out my Wide World of Games shows episodes on these other fun-filled games with a little bit of fun with a casino type style. Well, this is kind of like a casino style because it's got the big table and what have you. And in the upper left-hand corner, you can see the episode I did on the classic card sharks. Or go to the upper right-hand corner and see the previous episode of Wide World Game Shows where I talked about Gambit. Or if you want more of the late great Alex Trebek, check out the episode I did on the game that made him a big star and host in the world of game shows, and that was Jeopardy! And the bottom right hand corner is the button you can click to subscribe. If you like rankings and reviews on movies, TV, music, video games, etc., as well as the wide world of game shows, then I'm your guy. Thanks for watching. Until next time, on the Big D thing, see ya.